I'm going to put you up next, okay, if that's okay, from Tom Marlmalstien from Hunter Industries, and is going to talk about his smart controller technology. So without any further ado, Mr. Tom.
Right, you have to have some fun out there, right? So, thanks, Dave, and thanks for having me here. You know, again, we've known each other. I'm kind of not a podium guy. I'm kind of a walker around here, so this is new for me. But Dave and I have kind of known each other a long time, and I'm glad to be back in the mix of sustainability. So it's a lot more fun now than it was 15 years ago. So hopefully, you know, today, what you'll get out of this is, you know, I'm going to wear a couple different hats. I'm going to speak a little bit for the CICA, and then I'm also going to speak as a manufacturer in the irrigation industry. And we've really, in the last probably 5 to 6 years, raised the bar on what's smart or smart and what's wicked smart out there. So I'm not from Boston. If anyone's from Boston, I apologize, but I figured I'd put a little levity to this. So without further ado, we'll get rolling. So I took this out of the CICA, which stands for the Connecticut Irrigation Contractors Association. And it was a group of contractors that started grassroots in 1988. And I'm just going to read it. And this was kind of their mission statement back then. The purpose: the association shall exist for the purpose of promoting excellence in the field of turf irrigation installation. The Connecticut Irrigation Contractors Association is dedicated to the achievement of standardization within its areas of expertise through relevant licensing, and you do need to have a license in the state of Connecticut to install irrigation, involvement in educational seminars, trade shows, and open communication within the outside of the membership. The Connecticut Irrigation Contractors Association is further dedicated to promoting a professional and autonomous self-image for each member that will further enhance the industry-wide acceptance of the specialized profession. Lastly, the Connecticut Irrigation Contractors Association is dedicated to the health and welfare of each member and their families through any means that are available or could be made available during the time of need. So that was in 1988, and this is the revised version that we just finished about 5 months ago. 2019, our industry is committed to the cost-effective and responsible management of one of our most precious natural resources, water. We are dedicated to helping manage water demand and improve water supply sustainability so that you, our customers, can maintain thriving properties and communities. Installing and using a modern irrigation system helps you stay within your budget, buys common goals, buys time for infrastructure improvements, increases water. Hello, there we go. These common goals are best achieved by using licensed professionals who are experts at expert at efficient irrigation practices and proactive smart control technology needed to design, install, and maintain these modern irrigation systems. So just kind of 1988 to 2019. So anyone here know what this is? Raise of hands. I know some of you guys do. So this is a rain sensor. And this was state-of-the-art technology that's been utilized in irrigation systems they're still utilized today. They are mandatory on any building, any commercial building. And I was part of the team that I think in about 2008 made this part of the state law to be mandatory on home resident irrigation systems. So, you know, this is state-of-the-art stuff. So I'm smart, but I'm really not that smart. So rain sensors are a reactive technology, and I'm going to use a couple words, reactive and predictive, and you'll hopefully learn the difference of the two by the end of the day, because what we have now is predictive, and that's where we're saving all the water. Rain sensors are just going to react to rain. So if an irrigation system waters on Monday, and it waters all of its zones, all of the full cycle, and it rains on Tuesday, it really did nothing. It just kept the irrigation system off for a day or two. So predictive is where it's at. Other sustainability practices that the CICA and the industry practices, check valves. I have some samples of check valves on my table. They basically, if there's any elevation in the irrigation system, they will help water from not draining out of that pipe. So check valves are very important. We matched the precipitation of nozzles. I'm not going to get into the science of it, but basically if it's a quarter circle, you want to have a 1 gallon nozzle. If it's a half circle, it's a 2 gallon nozzle. And if it's a full circle, you would have a 4 gallon nozzle. We don't want a 4 gallon nozzle in a quarter circle because you're putting 4 times more water in that area than you really need to. So just matching precip nozzles is saves a lot of water in the irrigation system. Drip irrigation, Dave talked a little bit about drip irrigation. We utilize it in the irrigation industry, the residential commercial irrigation industry as well. Great technology, that's getting better and better every year. Pressure regulation, I didn't put it in my slide, but that's very important. We have many different products, not just us, but all manufacturers have many different pressure regulation products. And these are all designed to save, it's a little touchy here, save and utilize water more efficiently. But new technology is really a game changer. Predictive, we gotta remember that. So this is what I call wicked smart. This is the new generation of irrigation controllers. I'm talking about mine today, but many different of these products exist in the marketplace. So what is an irrigation smart controller? By definition, simply stated, a smart irrigation controller is a timer that has built-in water-saving features, including a sensor to adjust to the optical sprinkler runtime based on the local weather conditions. Smart controllers help to provide a healthy, beautiful landscape while reducing water use. This not only saves water, but also reduces the cost to the homeowner, especially if you're paying for water. So why do we need them? We need them, is this a pointer too, Dave? Fascinating. We need them for the gray areas in this chart. Most controller schedules are not adjusted for seasonal waterings. Most controllers have that option, but it's a manual operation that nobody really does. So significant water savings can be achieved using water triggers. When you look at this chart, all that gray, I mean, obviously we're in New England, we don't irrigate in January, February, and March, but if you look at April through October, anything above the darker area, that's where these controllers are saving water. And they're upwards, depending on the season, 20, 30, 40%. And how do we do that? By these water triggers. A big one is, I don't know if you can see it, but the top left is temperature. So for instance, I would say, I don't want to, even though I turn my irrigation system on in May, I don't want to water anything until that temperature gets to at least 60 degrees. So that saves a lot of water. A lot of systems get turned on May, and they water, and they water, and they water. And a lot of times we don't need that. So that trigger, we have some other triggers, tough to see, but we also put a parameter in there, and these are all customizable. Water 30% less until the temperature reaches 77 degrees. Now I can say water 20% less, I can say water 50% less, it's customizable. So all these triggers play into effect, saving that gray area of water. And then we have weather station savings as well. If we've received an inch of rain for the week, I don't want to irrigate. So there's a lot of different things that play into this. Weather is pretty important. We recently work now with the weather company, which owns the Weather Channel. And we have developed what we call virtual weather that is accurate within 1,500 feet of the residence. So we really, really can, fine tune that system. A year ago, we said, why don't you choose the nearest airport, because those are very accurate and they're maintained. And, the airport could be 30 miles away or 50 miles away. I live on the shore. It's a different weather pattern. So now we've been able to fine tune that even further. And you also have choices. If you're not happy with that virtual weather, you can choose up to 5 local weather stations. Some of them are maintained by homeowners. If it's a registered weather station with the Weather Channel, it'll show up when you're setting up this system. So this is real, it's all good, all theory and everything's great, but this is actually my house. So I screenshotted what ran so far this year in the month of May. So if you look on the left is what was scheduled to run. Every color box is a separate zone, and it would probably run between 20 and 30 minutes each zone. So then I said, what actually ran? And so if you look on the right, anywhere you see color, those were that actually my irrigation system turned on and ran. The first day is when I turned it on, so if you hovered over that, you would see that there were only like 1 minute run times. So really, the month of May, I hardly watered at all. I think I watered 1 complete cycle. Previous to that, there would have been, 3 Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 full cycles every week. So that's where we're getting the savings, and that's because of those alerts that were put in place. Don't water when the temperature is X amount. If I know that there is a 40, 50, 60% chance of rain tomorrow, don't water. Those are, again, they're settable triggers that you can customize. So my regular controllers work great. Why do I need a Wi-Fi controller? Well, just like high school, everybody's doing it. There's a lot of different products on the market, and I think we have one of the better ones. It helps projects qualify for variances, and Aquarian is here, and Ted's here. And, I'm all for smart watering and getting those variances. And it really does save from overwatering. You saw that's just my house. If you extrapolate that out to the thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that have irrigation systems in Connecticut and Massachusetts and Rhode Island, now you start to see the savings. Usually, this is a global product. It started in Australia. So at any given time, we can say out of the 500,000 systems we have installed, we can pick a number of, we can say, all right, what's our savings? And we did it last year, and we were saving 28% globally. So pretty cool stuff. Also, leak detection. It depends on the how elaborate you want to make a system. But we have flow meters that will calculate flow. We have meters that will shut down systems based on overflow. If somebody breaks a nozzle or a head, it'll shut the system down. It'll also tell you if there's water running when you shouldn't be irrigating, which is a big one that we call that leak detection. That's what the flow meter looks like, and that's all I have. I'll be here. I have a little table. Please stop if you have any questions.